Hi, today I'd like to teach how to use a couple of tools from the National Library of Virtual Manipulatives in order to teach the second grade math standard from the domain Measurement and Data number 7, which says, tell and write time from analog and digital clocks to the nearest 5 minutes using AM and PM. If you go to the National Library of Virtual Manipulatives website, which is nlvm.usu.edu, then you can click on Measurement under Pre-K to second grade. These programs are great because they're free, and then all of the materials are online, so you don't need to store or buy additional materials for the class. If you click on Time, Analog and Digital Clocks, I'll show you how to use this first tool in order to teach this standard. So this tool has both an analog clock and a digital clock, and it shows the time on both of them so the students can compare the times and see how they look different but they both say the same time. The students can also change it so that they can change what time the clock says, and then the digital clock will follow. Or you can change what time the digital clock says, and then the face clock will follow, so the students can see that even though they look different, they're still the same, and they can actually do it hands-on and change the time. They can also change it so that the clocks aren't linked, and they can change them to say different times if they would like. If the seconds confuses the students because there's so many numbers, then they can take away the seconds and simplify it. So this is a great tool that the students can use to change the time on the clocks and see that it's the same on both the digital clock and the analog clock. Another tool that you can use is time match clocks. This tool is a game that assesses what the students were learning in the last tool. So if this is their problem, they need to match, it says match this time on the digital clock by clicking the arrow buttons. So on the face clock or analog clock, it's 2:25. So they would move this by clicking on the buttons until it says 2:25. If they hold down the arrow, it goes by fast. If they do it just one click at a time, then it just changes it 1 minute at a time. So we change it to match the analog clock, and then we check the answer, and it lets them know if they're correct. This is a great tool because you can check to see if they actually understood what they were doing in the last activity, and they must be able to read the time on the clock in order to make the digital clock match the analog clock. Both of these activities are very good for students learning because they're hands-on, they're engaging. The students can compare clock types side by side. They don't just work with one at a time, and they can manipulate them in order to make they can manipulate them to see how you can change the time on the clocks, and so it's very engaging in getting the students to actually practice. And this is really applicable to the students because in real life they have to be able to not only read time but be able to change the time on clocks in case like the power goes out or batteries die. They need to be able to do these tasks, so it's great because we can relate it to real life.